canceled the results of a president. We're at the point, of course, that the situation has gotten so bad that this December, Romania straight up canceled the results of a presidential election based on the flimsy suspicions of an intelligence agency and enormous pressure from its continental neighbors. Now,
oof, I had a few, this was in Romania, right? A few Romanian friends messaged me and tell me that, like, this was like the most blatant that like nobody knew about this guy and he came out of nowhere and just like destroyed these elections, and it was like obviously fucking horrendously rigged. I don't know anything about it though. I'm literally just repeating what like I was personally told by people. I don't even know how big into politics they are. These are like semi-normie friends.
As I understand it, the argument was that Russian disinformation had infected the Romanian elections. But I'd ask my European friends to have some perspective. You can believe it's wrong for Russia to buy social media advertisements to influence your elections. We certainly do. You can condemn it on the world stage even. But if your democracy can be destroyed with a few $100,000 of digital advertising from a foreign country, then it wasn't very strong to begin with. Now,
I'm so sorry. Look at the size of this audience. Listen to that applause.
Digital advertising from a foreign country, then it wasn't very strong to begin with. Now, the good news, we're at the point of...
Oh, no.
...to begin with. Now, the good...
is it two... Hold on. Is it two people clapping or is it three people clapping? Listen once more. Is it two people or three people clapping?
On the world stage even. A few hundred things from a foreign country, then it wasn't very strong to begin with.
It's just one guy for a little bit. He's like, come on, let's go, guys.
Now, the good...
I think it literally might be two people clapping. It's either two or three.
Now, the good news...
This guy's probably watching right now. Oh, Crowder's dipshit fucking producer guy. He isn't saying it for applause. The key difference between the left and conservatives, saying what needs to be said, no matter the audience reaction. This guy says, while literally placating the most audience and applause-obsessed president probably in the history of the United States. Good one, dude.
And trust me, I say this with all humor. If American democracy can survive 10 years of Greta Thunberg scolding, you guys can survive a few months of Elon Musk. But what you guys can survive a few months of Elon Musk.
I guess he brings up a point there. What was Greta's position in the U.S. government again? Hold on, fuck. I always forget what office she held. Oh. Oh. It was just another retarded fucking comparison. My bad. I feel like I brought this up the last time I was on Piers when that one woman was like, you guys get so mad at Donald Trump, but then I see you guys worshiping George Floyd. Pretty funny. It's like, George Floyd is a fucking dead druggie. He's not the fucking president. Why the fuck would I have the same stand? What are you even talking about? What the fuck kind of comparison is that? Holy shit. I was thinking about this yesterday because I was trying to figure out how to combat this. Liberals do nothing when they're out of power, and conservatives do everything when they're out of power. And how do we make liberals be stronger and all that bullshit? Because I'm thinking like, because Vosh and everybody like gives them so much shit. And then I try to think, what do conservatives do when they don't have power? and they really don't do anything. I think it's like another example of the uneven media environment, because people are like, you need to be more like conservatives. Okay, well, conservatives are in minorities everywhere. What do they actually do? Well, they don't really fucking do anything. They just bitch and moan and cry. Conservatives don't do anything as well unless they have majorities where they can start obstructing. But somehow they get more credit for anything. And people are like, be more like the conservatives. Okay, well, when the conservatives win elections, that's when they fuck shit up. Mitch McConnell fucked the shit out of the Supreme Court. Yeah, when he had a majority in the Senate. Rewind this from the beginning and watch. Is it worth watching?
Of the United States, Mr. J.D. Vance, who was here last year as senator, and we are very happy that he has come back to Munich, and we are very much looking forward to his speech. Please welcome Vice President J.D. Vance.
Well, thank you, and thanks to all the gathered delegates and luminaries and media professionals, and thanks especially to the host of the Munich.
Oh yeah, I'm not making fun of his appearance or anything. I'm genuinely curious. Does he wear what do you call it on your eyelids? It wouldn't be eyeliner, would it be? Does he wear something up here to darken his? What is makeup for eyelids called? Is it eyeliner? Oh, eyeshadow. We should be able to tell when he blinks. Does he? Or does he have some kind of like condition?
Security conference.
He has dystichiasis. An extra row of eyelashes. Holy shit, that's creepy.
For being able to put on such an incredible event. We're, of course, thrilled to be here. We're happy to be here. And, you know, one of the things that I wanted to talk about today is, of course, our shared values. And, you know, it's great to be back in Germany. As you heard earlier, I was here last year as United States Senator. I saw Foreign Secretary David Lammy joke that both of us last year had different jobs than we have now. But now it's time for all of our countries, for all of us who have been fortunate enough to be given political power.
I fucked up selling Meta. Oh, has that stock jumped a lot? Bro, my CrowdStrike is printing money. Who's with me on that CrowdStrike train? God damn. When do we get to sell that?
By our respective peoples to use it wisely to improve their lives. And I want to say that, you know, I was fortunate in my time here to spend some time outside the walls of this conference over the last 24 hours. And I've been so impressed by the hospitality of the people, even of course, as they're reeling from yesterday's horrendous attack. And the first time I was ever in Munich was with my wife, actually, who's here with me today, on a personal trip. And I've always loved the city of Munich, and I've always loved its people. And I just want to say that we're very moved in our thoughts.
What is CrowdStrike? I have no clue. They do internet security or some shit. All I know is I saw it fall a lot, and I'm like, CrowdStrike? It's got a cool name. A lot of people use it. Is CrowdStrike really down that bad? And you know what? It wasn't. I bought this for $500K, and it's up to $823K. I think in only 7 months, 8 months. I don't know when we bought this. It's almost doubled in value.
And prayers are with Munich and everybody affected by the evil inflicted on this beautiful community.
I'm just a god. I just call him. I call him so well. Well, that was savvy. I mean, I am an expert investor, so. You're up 21% on NVIDIA again? Did my NVIDIA come back? NVIDIA's been lagging. Oh, it's doing okay-ish now. Oh, no, it's up 20%. That's true. Okay.
We're thinking about you, we're praying for you, and we will certainly be rooting for you in the days and weeks to come. Now, I hope that's not the last bit of applause that I get, but we gather at this conference, of course, to discuss security, and normally we mean threats to our external security. I see many great military leaders gathered here today. But while the Trump administration is very concerned with European security and believes that we can come to a reasonable settlement between Russia and Ukraine, and we also believe that it's important in the coming years for Europe to step up in a big way to provide for its own defense, the threat that I worry the most about vis-a-vis Europe is not Russia, it's not China, it's not any other external actor.
It's mass migration. He's not going to say it. Well, that would be an external actor, right? What's he going to say? He's not going to say mass migration.
And what I worry about is the threat from within, the retreat of Europe from some of its most fundamental values, values shared with the United States of America. Now, I was struck that a former European commissioner went on television recently and sounded delighted that the Romanian government had just annulled an entire election. Oh. He warned that if things don't go to plan, the very same thing could happen in Germany, too. Now, these cavalier statements are shocking to American ears. For years, we've been told that everything we fund and support is in the name of our shared democratic values. Everything from our Ukraine policy to digital censorship is billed as a defense of democracy. But when we see European courts canceling elections and senior officials threatening to cancel others, we ought to ask whether we're holding ourselves to an appropriately high standard. And I say ourselves because I fundamentally believe that we are on the same team. We must do more than talk about democratic values. We must live them.
The Russian-backed Romanian candidate in question was on Alex Jones recently. Nice.
Now, within living memory of many of you in this room, the Cold War positioned defenders of democracy against much more tyrannical forces on this continent. And consider the side in that fight that censored dissidents, that closed churches, that canceled elections. Were they the good guys? Certainly not. And thank God they lost the Cold War. They lost because they neither valued nor respected all of the extraordinary blessings of liberty. The freedom to surprise, to make mistakes, to invent, to build. As it turns out, you can't mandate innovation or creativity, just as you can't force people what to think, what to feel, or what to believe. And we believe those things are certainly connected. And unfortunately, when I look at Europe today, it's sometimes not so clear.
Oh, fuck. You ever drink and then you put the drink down and a splash gets right up into your eyeball and it's a carbonated beverage? That's true pain. This fucking retard doesn't even believe in the results of our own 2020 election. Why is this guy talking about democracy or elections anywhere? Bro. Fuck you.
Innovation or creativity, just as you can't force people what to think, what to feel, or what to believe. And we believe those things are certainly connected. And unfortunately, when I look at Europe today, it's sometimes not so clear what happened to some of the Cold War's winners. I look to Brussels, where EU commissars warn citizens that they intend to
Oh, he did bring that up. Sorry. I was too busy drinking.
defenders of democracy against much more tyrannical forces on this continent. And consider the side in that fight that censored dissidents, that closed churches, that canceled elections. Were they the good guys? Certainly not. And thank God they lost the Cold War.
I can't tell if these are dog whistles. That would be a very clever dog whistle for Ukraine. Stuff that lines up with the Soviet Union and Ukraine as well. But these are very common Russian talking points against Ukraine. The, you made a religion illegal, is basically bullshit. Canceled elections, that's bullshit. Censored dissidents. I don't know if that claim has been made in particular against Ukraine. I'm sure it has in some general form, but...
They intend to shut down social media during times of civil unrest the moment they spot what they've judged to be, quote, hateful content. They intend to shut down social media during times... I look to Brussels, where EU commissars warn citizens that they intend to shut down social media during times of civil unrest the moment they spot what they've judged to be, quote, hateful content. Or to this very country, where police have carried out raids against citizens suspected of posting anti-feminist comments online as part of, quote, combating misogyny on the internet, a day of action. I look to Sweden, where 2 weeks ago the government convicted a Christian activist for participating in Koran burnings that resulted in his friend's murder.
Ooh, that's not Tommy Robinson, is it? Is it a different guy?
And as the judge in his case chillingly noted, Sweden's laws to supposedly protect free expression do not, in fact...
Who's the guy who... There's a guy who goes up to Sweden, I think, like every year, who like burns a Quran to start shit. And to be fair, the response, I think, is somewhat unhinged. I mean, I guess. I don't know what the Sweden free speech laws are, but I think you're allowed to do that, so...
Grant, and I'm quoting, a free pass
Rasmus
to do or say
Paludan?
anything without risking offending the group that holds that belief. And perhaps most concerningly, I look to our very dear friends, the United Kingdom, where the backslide away from conscience rights has placed the basic liberties of religious Britons in particular in the crosshairs. A little over 2 years ago, the British government charged Adam Smith Connor, a 51-year-old physiotherapist and an Army veteran, with the heinous crime of standing...
Holy fuck. What do you think the lumen is on the lights that are up here? It must be huge, right? I wonder how much each of these cost.
50 meters from an abortion clinic and silently praying for 3 minutes. Not obstructing anyone, not interacting with anyone, just silently praying on his own.
This retard supported making burning the American flag illegal? Wait, did Vance support that as well? I know Trump did.
Really taking this country back in a big way. Thank you, sir.
No shot that he supported as well.
Hey, Senator Torian Small with CBS News again. Last night, obviously Speaker Johnson was there at Madison Square Garden. Former President Trump looked at him and said 2 policy proposals, one on addressing immigration with mass deportation through the Alien Enemies Act. The other one was a proposal to ban flag burning. Your response to that, especially considering the latter would be a breach of free speech, which you've talked about before.
Well, I think that we can all recognize that there are important national symbols that are worth protecting, and I think the American flag is a national symbol that's worth protecting.
Holy fuck, what an authoritarian, what an un-American thing to say. Fuck you. The ability to protest our government is one of the best things about this country. Some people take it too far, and they're cringe losers, but we call them cringe losers, and that's it.
Look, the censorship that I'm worried about
It has more to do with trans people or something, COVID.
Is not somebody not being able to burn a flag at a protest rally, which, by the way, can sometimes be dangerous.
Oh my God, what a pivot. What a sidestep. Do you think you should be able to burn flags? What if that flag is wrapped around an innocent baby? Would you burn it then, you fucking murderer? Oh, fuck me, you got me.
It's not just burning a flag at an American protest rally. The censorship that I really worry about is when the federal government or when big technology companies tell the people in this hangar that they're not allowed to speak their mind according to their wishes. That is the censorship that is actually a threat in the United States of America.
Okay, but the federal government telling you that a particular form of speech is legal, or states now telling you that you can't jerk off to porn without having a fucking big brother verifying your ID online now.
So obviously we'd have to see what that legislation looked like. I'm sure that the courts would get a say because somebody would file a lawsuit. But the censorship that we should be most worried about, it's not just the official censorship coming from the government, but it's this thing that I think a lot of us feel, maybe not in this room, but I think a lot of our fellow Americans.
Oh, it's the censorship that we care about when we talk about the First Amendment that applies to the government is not actually about the government. It's more about when my grandma's Facebook account got muted because she said that she drank 20 gallons of ivermectin and then they banned her for giving bad medical advice.
Americans feel this idea that you're not allowed to speak openly about your values, about your faith, about what you believe, and about who you're ultimately going to vote for. And what I'd ask every person in this room to remember is that cowardice is contagious, but
also keep in mind, this is the same administration, yeah, that banned the Associated Press from the press room because they wouldn't refer to it as the Gulf of America.
courage is contagious too. And what I see What I see, when I see a guy like Elon Musk, who I've known Elon for a little while, Elon was a center-left Clinton Democrat even 5 years ago, and now he's going around doing MAGA rallies with Donald J. Trump. You know what Elon Musk was sick of? Elon Musk was sick of being told what to say and what to think in the United States of America. We believe in the First Amendment, and I think... And I think that's something we really have to take back. Don't let somebody make you feel bad, or don't let somebody make you feel ashamed because you disagree with them on a particular issue. Get informed, of course, get educated, have a conversation. America was built around the idea that American citizens could have conversations with one another, even when, maybe especially when we disagree with one another. And by the way, let me make one final point about that.
However, if you're a federal judge and you disagree with the current administration, you are un-American and you need to be impeached as per the unelected bureaucrat Elon Musk. And I wonder if Vance was tweeting stuff out. Was Vance tweeting in support of impeaching that judge as well?
And after British law enforcement spotted him and demanded to know what he was praying for, Adam replied simply, it was on behalf of the unborn son he and his former girlfriend had aborted years before.
Wait, what?
On his own.
Oh.
And after British law enforcement spotted him and demanded to know what he was praying for, Adam replied simply, it was on behalf of the unborn son he and his former girlfriend had aborted years before. Now, the officers were not moved. Adam was found guilty of breaking the government's new buffer zones law, which criminalizes silent prayer and other actions that could influence a person's decision within 200 meters of an abortion facility. He was sentenced to pay thousands of pounds in legal costs to the prosecution. Now, I wish I could say that this was a fluke, a one-off crazy example of a badly written law being enacted against a single person. But no, this last October, just a few months ago, the Scottish government began distributing letters to citizens whose houses lay within so-called safe access zones, warning them that even private prayer within their own homes may amount to breaking the law.
Really, though?
Naturally, the government urged readers to report any fellow citizen suspected guilty of thought crime. In Britain and across Europe, free speech, I fear, is in retreat. And in the interest of comedy...
Fuck you, you fucking treasonous fuck. This is the German defense minister's response to Vance's speech right after.
This is why I cannot just ignore what we heard before. I cannot not comment on the speech we heard by the US Vice President. We fight for your...
Hold on. I can't tell if I'm having a bias moment right now or if I'm just selectively remembering. Is every single translator in all of Europe, are they all women? I feel like overwhelmingly, whoever this lady is, I feel like this is the voice I always hear when they're translating. Are they always women or are there male translators in the European Union? Maybe I'm just selectively remembering.
By the US Vice President. We fight for your right to be against us. That is the motto, one of the mottos of the Bundeswehr, and it stands for our democracy. This democracy that was just called into question by the US Vice President, and not just the German democracy, but Europe as a whole. He spoke of the annulment of democracy, and if I understood him correctly, he compares the condition of Europe with the condition that prevails in some authoritarian regimes. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not acceptable.
Okay. I feel like this is like when the subtitles come before the person speaks on screen, which is why you shouldn't watch movies with subtitles. I'm getting the applause before she finishes the sentence, okay? They should just delay the thing so that it lines up or something.
This is not acceptable. This is not the Europe, not the democracy where I live and where I conduct my election campaign right now. And this is not the democracy that I witness every day in our parliament. In our democracy, every opinion has a voice. And it makes it possible for parties that are partly extremist, such as the AfD, and they can campaign just as any other party. This is democracy. And if the Vice President had the opportunity to switch on his TV set when he arrived yesterday, he would have seen one of those candidates in primetime TV. By the way, we even admit media that spread Russian propaganda, and the representatives of the federal government answer their questions. Nobody is excluded.
I wonder if that's a direct reference to the Associated Press, or if that would be too like minor thing for like a European to take note of. I have no idea.
But democracy does not mean that a vociferous minority will automatically be right, and they cannot decide what truth is. It does not mean that anyone can say anything, and democracy must be able to defend itself against extremists that try to destroy it. I am happy to live in Europe where this democracy is defended every day against its internal and external enemies. And therefore, I would like to explicitly contradict and oppose the impression that Vice President Vance suggested here, that our democracies oppress and silence minorities. We not only know against whom we defend our countries, but also what we defend it for. It's for democracy, for freedom of opinion, for the rule of law, and the dignity of each and every one, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, but unlike the Vice President, I would also like to focus my speech on the most pressing questions of European and transatlantic security. The last days have confirmed what many had speculated for months. The United States are pushing for a quick peace settlement between Russia and Ukraine, and they expect Europe to take the lead in securing any agreement that follows.